I love practice of observation. And what I mean by observation for me, it's just watching and listening things without trying to change them, without any attempt to interfere or to influence things that happen around. And I do it most frequently by doing field recordings, doing recordings of sounds, and also drawing in nature. And in course of doing that, I came to a conclusion that actually everything that happens around me influences me and becomes a part of me. And there is certain capacity of how much I can take, how much I can allow things to become a part of me. Because to maintain a balance with reality, you actually need some emptiness, some free space inside. And this free space inside is really needed to resonate with the moment. And I found for myself two techniques that do work to maintain this sort of emptiness, this free space inside. And one of those techniques, which is personal, is sort of putting a filter or incoming signal, filtering the incoming information. And the second practice, the second technique, is a technique of presence in sound improvisation.
And one of these perception things on the stage, if I can show you one example. If I go to the piano and hit some key, just talking with you, you won't think about as some poetical meaning of some performance. But if I do like this and come to the stage and sit at the piano, and do nothing with the silence, 4 minutes and 33 seconds, there will be a poetical meaning. And a lot of people will understand this. It even will be a classical piece by John Cage. But I didn't do anything, any sound, and there is nothing of my skills or my experience as a student, but somehow it becomes a performance.
So actually, this thing that Jekabs was explaining is this first way when you really question yourself. You ask yourself important questions, which are very, very personal. Each one has his own or her own way to go, and own questions to shape this way. That's this sort of perfect example of filtering the incoming flow of information to maintain some emptiness inside, to stay in touch with the moment. So it's very personal. Each one has to decide on his own. But there is also this more universal way to go, which is this practice of presence, which I mentioned. And how does it work universally, you may ask? And so, as architect, I'm fascinated with the way how space sounds. I'm fascinated how perception of sound in space differs and actually shapes space. It's a very nice training which anyone can check. When you just get bored, you have to wait something, you cannot change anything around you, you just have to sit and wait. Just close your eyes and listen to space. And you will notice how time flow changes, it becomes more universal, you become more settled, and you don't get bored or you don't get excited time to time like when your mind is jumping. You just relax and calm down. And this really works because it's universal for human beings. So this you can check because this thing, it runs out of battery, but your ears and mind doesn't. So you can work with that technique. But it's like a first step. What we do, what we discovered ourselves in practice and in years of field recordings and working with our very good colleagues and friends, sound artists, we worked out a special method that helps to tune in. This first step is you tune in your mind to surrounding, you tune with the space. So what we do site-specific sound improvisations in collective with people, so we are many of us. That means that we also tune not only towards the space, but we also tune in between us. Everyone has to be tuned to do something together. And the third level of this improvisation is that we don't bring instruments. We don't play musical instruments. We don't bring ideas. We rely on location. We play only things that we find on location. And we play with ideas that come on location. This means that space itself becomes instrument. and we tune also space. So these 3 levels of tuning is what we do during this method of presence in sound improvisation.
But we won't do it here now, because we brought a lot of stuff. and we make a sounds with the stuff we brought. Max is mostly work with stuff he made own, or found or tuned somehow. But I'm, as a composer, like to work with an instruments, because it's also actually part of me and my personality. So if I somehow am present in some place, so I am present with that information I have with me.
So yeah, basically, what helps to do this wonderful, fantastic sound improvisation with people that you do not know in a place that you have never been before. And there are certainly rules. And we use 3 rules to make it possible. And all participants are really explained and asked to follow these 3 rules. And rule number 1, to let it happen, is be present. And by be present, we mean that just for a moment, for a few minutes or 30 minutes of improvisation, try to stop your mind from wandering back and forward, wandering from past to future. Just stay with the moment for a moment. Second rule is be open or be attentive, which means be very respectful towards anyone and anything in a space with you at the moment. And the third rule is be focused, be concentrated on what you do. Be very sharp with your mind on each slightest, smallest detail of what you do and what others do. And if you try to follow these 3 rules, only try. Don't think you become perfect. Try to follow these 3 rules and just watch yourself, observe how things start to happen, how we tune in, how others tune in, how space tunes in. And as a result of this practice, we become able to come to new things, to do something really new that we don't expect before that we could do, because we become really tuned each moment with a moment. How space tunes towards anyone and anything, towards the open, or be it how we tune in, back and forward, with your mark, and by being present and to let it happen. Slightest with your mind on, just stay with the moment. Perfect. Try to follow. Second rule is and just the third rule is be focused. Is bring back the perfect. Try to focus. And the third improvisation in a space of the future. Just to let for a moment. Stay with the moment for a moment. Think you become perfect. Try to be very sharp. Do forward. Respectful. Stop your mind. Things start to happen. What you do and what bring from past to future on each slide. On just watch yourself. Just what you do. Others to be open. And you do. It's a serious stop you at this being. Anyone thinks it start this whole thing in that anyone and for a moment stay with the moment. Let it happen. Think from past to let it how things start. Be very second how space tunes in. And the third rule, try. Don't be attentive, which means only try. Don't stand from wandering back and future. Just stay with the moment, future at the moment. And the third few minutes or 30 minutes at the moment. And the third, be concentrated on what you do. The smallest detail. Very sharp with your memory. How others do. Second rule is just stay with the moment. Is anyone and what mind from wonder. Try to follow what you do. On each slightest, smallest detail of what you do and what others do. And if you try to follow these 3 rules, only try. Don't think you become perfect. Try to follow these 3 rules.
Thank you.